Welcome to the PETA Podcast. Today we're joined by Leon, who has recently joined PETA as a new expert for us. It's a new role as an associate with the Knowledge Transfer Partnership in partnership with the University of Portsmouth and Innovate UK. As most businesses, we are really looking to find new expertise to help as a catalyst for us to achieve what we need to achieve to continue to support our members and our community. So welcome, Leon.
Thank you.
Do tell us a little bit about you, who you are and why you're here.
Yes, I'll start from the very back of how I started, what got me over here and how things worked out for me. So as a kid, I was always fascinated about cubes. It started off with a normal Rubik's Cube, 3x3. Got my attention, loved it, started exploring more.
3x3?
Yes.
Is that right? I thought
The
they were
normal
4x4.
So I started off with 3x3.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Went on increasing and 4x4, 5x5, went on all the way up to 17x17.
Wow.
And today I solve about more than 100 plus kinds of cubes. That was the foundation of numbers, mathematics, and statistics for me. That was the ignition of interest, and that's how I landed for my bachelor's in statistics in University of Mumbai. After that, straight I came to University of Portsmouth because statistics led me to data, and data analytics was something I was always interested in. After this, I saw a big shift happening in industries. All the technologies were moving towards AI and how AI was used by businesses and corporates and big fintech giants, and how it started to be a revolution in AI. And that's how led me over here, who I am and what I do today is use AI to make companies and businesses better, help them understand what the problem is, and give the best solution possible.
Great. Okay. So that led you to here.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about the tool that we're working on then and why that's interesting to you.
Yes. So the Skills Navigator tool, as we call it, it's a very interesting one because it's going to provide a path for businesses, companies, and even every single individual that will be using this tool. It's not just going to tell you what skills you need to learn or what pathway you need to go into, but it will provide you with a proper conscious of why it is exactly the right thing for you to go. I keep saying this to many of the students and apprentices that I meet is, they always think about what next skills should I learn. And I just say that it's always about what next skill, not skills. So one step at a time, and the Future Skills Navigator tool will exactly do that. It will have data from all sorts of different sources. It will have the intelligence to tell you what exactly you're looking for. Companies would be better to use their resources and how they would want to allocate their staff members, who they want to upskill. They would be able to see the market, how the real market is looking like, and what changes are happening in their specific sector. And I think it's a big change with this tool coming into play because it will change the dynamics and the market and how companies think about it.
Great. Okay, so learning then. So you've grown up learning, so that's really important to you. And This is obviously what this tool is going to do. Talk to us about how you develop yourself, what's next for you, and why the next skill is so important for you.
Learning's always been an important part. I see learning as a very critical step. So as I said, I was into data analytics. I worked as a data analyst before, and learning a new skill changed my perspective a lot. So I believe when you learn a new skill, the past changes and it gives you a driver to go ahead. So for example, when I was working as a data analyst, a new skill that I was introduced was AI.
Yeah.
The past that it changed was it showed me how the ways and things that I was working on with data have changed and evolved, and it gave me a driver ahead to carry on that forward. So that's what the skills, every skill you learn at a single point of time, they come in handy, maybe not now, maybe down the line, 10 years, 20 years, and it's always going to be useful somewhere or the other. And that's what I say is the biggest learning thing that I always believe is learning to learn new things. Yeah. And that's what upskilling is about. And for me, the next skills or the new things that are coming into market is not just related to any particular technology, but it's about joining different disciplines. I just don't want to be known as a guy in technology, but also in different kind of disciplines, people, changes, fintech, market, and everything that I can possibly tap my fingers into.
Amazing. So we're going to take a step back and then a step forward, if that's okay.
Yes.
So we'll talk a little bit. You mentioned about data and AI. There'll be a lot of people AI is being used a lot in a lot of interchangeable ways, and it's not always AI that people are actually talking about. They're just talking about the swell of change that they can see coming. So how did you learn, or how did you even start to embrace AI, given that the work you're doing now is massively hinged on artificial intelligence and automation, actually? So how did you even begin your journey on learning to be able to continue to do the work you're doing today?
Yes, so it all started when I was working as a research analyst at the University of Portsmouth. We were doing our traditional work, normal work that we would use proper data analysts, tool skills, tool sets. And it was all like a pre-planned book that we used to read. We'd follow the steps and go ahead. And that's where my first interaction of AI was. I personally was very skeptical about using AI into professional work and professional life. But then when I thought and I learned about it a bit more, I saw how it works actually. I went a bit more into back end of it, how it was developed, how things work around in the background, the technical side. And I saw what we see in the front end is a combination of various kind of decisions made at the background. And that's how I started investing more and more time into it. Eventually, I started learning which kind of algorithms work into an AI, why some AIs act different than the other ones, why the answers are different, how AI learns upon itself and how things work. And there was a lot of pattern recognition in this kind of things. And I learned that all AIs have some kind of similarity in them. And this was an important need for me to identify and use that in my case. So I took all of this information and started using it in my day-to-day life. Every task I was doing after that felt kind of amplified. And that's how I started to use AI for my own use and my own upskilling, yes.
Amazing. So it's just step at a time. And how do you learn to learn? So what I find fascinating is right now, there's a lot of learning in how do I use AI, but it's just going to continue to change. It's going to continue to transform. And what you're talking about is learning to learn. Yes. That doesn't always come naturally. I mean, it feels like it probably comes naturally to you. How do you foster that?
It starts with asking a simple question. Many of the people, they ask a question that, which AI should I use, or what AI should I be using, or what skill should I learn? I just say that first ask the question, what problem you're trying to solve.
Okay.
That gives you the big answer. If the problem that you want to solve is clear, you know what skill you're heading towards or what path of learning you want to go ahead. It just lies down in front of you, and then one skill at a time, you just keep on going ahead and then upskill yourself to be better.
Fine. That's a really, really interesting way of looking at it. So you're not trying to boil the ocean. You're just learning the next skill to get to start to resolve the problem that you've got.
Yes.
So that's really, really good insight, because as I say, we're being asked quite a lot about how can we support businesses in using AI and training the teams. And it's just one step at a time.
It's just one step at a time. And the first one is to see actually what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because many businesses, they right now, because it's trending in the market, to move towards AI. They just want AI. But what I want the businesses to first do is what problem that AI will solve for your company. Once you have identified that, you know exactly where to place AI as a new employee kind of thing in your company, and it will work the best for you.
Great. Thank you. And then you moved right through your conversation, you moved on to not wanting to be a technical person, but an all-rounder. So interestingly, when we're training engineers or training people in technology within PETA, we're trying to get to a point where, yes, they need the skills and the knowledge, but actually, how do you learn to be the person that can work in that sector for the next 10, 20, you could be an expert in that sector. So talk to me about how you diversify across sector and be able to deliver what you need to deliver.
Yes, definitely. So whenever you're in a specific sector, learning a specific skill, you see it as a qualification or a certificate task that you want to complete and get into it. I see it as a working thing. So even if I'm learning a specific skill, I would just imagine myself that, I'm working in this kind of sector. I'll be dealing with these kind of industries, companies, a broad range of people that have different mindsets. And I would just train myself in that kind of way to develop better skills. One important thing I would like to mention is I use help of AI to do this, is I have a conversation one-on-one with AI itself. So if I'm learning a new skill, I would just say, okay, now I'm implementing this skill, and then AI will come back to me with questions, and I would try to answer it. And I would go back to it with questions, and it would try to answer me back. And I would tell it to act as different kind of people. I'll specifically tell it to be, find some challenges for me in this and fit me in this situation, and how would I react to it, and how would different scenarios fall apart in this kind of scenarios. And that's how you learn way ahead about your skill and your industry 10 years down the line, because this is all happening. And another thing is just knowing the skills won't take you way ahead, because talent will only take you so far, but learning will definitely take you more farther than that. This is because the world is constantly evolving with AI, so many technologies and power. And when I said I just don't want to be a technology guy, it was because talent will only take us so far, but the actual people that will thrive in the future is who are learners and who will always keep upskilling themselves.
And so the future of learning, then, you've talked about AI giving case studies to sort of implement that learning and apply that learning. And we talk a lot here about the learning activity and then applying it back in the workplace and getting the workplace to help support us with that. So how do you see AI working in that environment?
To support the workspace? Yeah, definitely. I mean, throughout the history, if you see, whenever technology has evolved, a bubble has erupted, many jobs have changed and many new roles have come up as well. It's always a thing that people keep asking me, that will AI take our jobs? I would just say that it's about asking the right question, like how will jobs evolve around AI, and how would companies use this learning about various kinds of tools, and how AI would help them, is just to amplify that. So a person with a specific amazing talent, if they're not able to deliver that specific talent in a company, let them use AI. Let them use AI to create scenarios and situations, put themselves in various kind of scenarios and just work around that. And that's what I think is going to make them better.
So how do you know you're getting it right? Because there's all sorts of myths, there's all sorts of narrative out there about AI and how it can hallucinate and give you duff information. So how do you avoid that in the environment?
Definitely. I mean, I've seen AI hallucinations so many times. As a personal developer who looks at the back end of how AI works, sometimes I see the codes getting wrong and giving all sorts of answers. I think one important step for every learner who's using AI or who wants to use AI is by not looking at what answer they want, but starting with the right question. Okay. In technical terms, it's called prompt engineering. You ask it right question, it will give you right answer, and it would avoid hallucinating. That's a very important step. That's what I do. Even if I'm giving it a certain question that I want it to answer to me, I would make sure that it's grammatically right. The sense that I'm sending the question to it with all the information is right. Because if you don't do that, you will get an answer which you might think this is right, but that was not what you really wanted. That's one of the most important things, is how you ask the question.
So when you're asking a question, it's almost like a code in that you have to ask. So typos, we all make mistakes. If you put a typo in your question, you're likely to get a hallucination.
Yes, so definitely, because AIs are trained for that, okay, to be very honest. They are trained to catch the typos and understand, but they're trained in such a way to understand the closest word. And everyone's language and everyone's narrative is different. So if that changes, it can hallucinate a lot. And AI thinks it's giving you the right answer, and then it will just direct you in a complete, total way. That won't be good for you and for companies and industries. So prompt engineering is important.
So let's turn this into reality for people who may be watching this podcast. So what is a good question then? What should it contain?
So it should clearly tell and describe what the goal is, what you exactly want out of it. The typos should be avoided. You can have typos, of course, but it will hallucinate even if there is too many typos or there is chance of error, so you just want to eliminate that by removing any typos. Giving it the right direction. So what people usually do is they just type a question, they get an answer, and that's it, and they're happy with that kind of answer. Is the best way to move ahead with confirmation is by a back and forth with the AI. So ask them to rectify and look for more sources, or use more than one AI to work together and correct the answers, because more is better than one. And that's how you'll just get a confirmation that whatever you're searching, whatever you're writing, and whatever you've got is 100% sure. And of course, your intelligence and cross-referencing is important as well.
So you have two AI systems checking each other?
I have multiple AI systems checking each other. Yes.
So how do you get to that point?
So what I personally use a bit to deep dive in the technology is I use multiple AI models as an AI agent. So I have
you create an agent?
Yes. So I train an agent. I take multiple AI models. I put them together and they all act as one single unit in my computer. They can make decisions, but again, I make sure that I have trained them so that they don't hallucinate too much. And all the important tasks are again and again checked. And the conscious that I have developed in my own system was inspired by Jarvis, the Iron Man bot. Yes, it's inspired from that. So to communicate in such a way that it would do tasks for me, it would speak to me, it would understand the problem in a very good way. So yes, I use multiple AI with AI agents to act as one.
That's quite incredible. So that's quite interesting, isn't it? I'm sure everybody has a bot. I mean, the older ones in us would think of Knight Rider or something like that, but there's Jarvis as well. Okay, so let's move on then to the knowledge transfer partnership. So you're here with us delivering on that. So do you want to just talk a little bit about where we're at with that and what's next?
The KTP project has well started off, and it's going good. We have identified a lot of sources that we want to get into our tool. We want to rightly use them, make sure that it delivers the best outcome that we can possibly give to our customers and clients. Right now, we are at a stage where we are identifying a wider and broader research methodology. What we are looking at is how skills gap would influence the market, how usability of our tool would be a critical and important aspect for the clients, and how the technology forecast would help the industries to set a benchmark and work on this. So we are moving ahead with the qualitative analysis, where there'll be a lot of interviews that will be happening around this subject and this topic. There's a lot of research gone behind this interview set of questions that I'll be asking our clients and customers. This would carry on for another 2-3 months. From there onwards, we'll be developing the technology stack. The whole toolkit would be in place. And then the big section of this project starts is just all the data coming in, and then we have to be very careful in which way we have to direct it. So that's how it will work. And really amazing and new things coming out of the research, which would be shared all the way throughout this project. Yes.
Great. Amazing. Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.